Hey, you guys, welcome to another video. I wanted to do this video here just kind of as a summary for this week of videos and broadcasts that we did, just really delving into this topic of Deuteronomy 28 and how the Hebrew space has built itself upon this claim that in order for Black people to identify themselves, as that they are the people of this book. One of the main ways that you can identify yourself is by simply going through Deuteronomy 28, and you'll be able to point out through these curses that this is you. And there's some other verses that people point to as well, but Deuteronomy 28 has by far been the marker that many Hebrews, Israelites have used. And like I said, again, I know I always going to get one or two people in the comment section saying, well, I don't do that. Okay, that's you. But generally speaking, Deuteronomy 28 has always been used as the signifier, if you will. If someone wants to know who they are, if you're Black and you want to know who you are, then look no further than Deuteronomy 28, and you'll be able to go through the curses and you'll be able to identify yourself. And so this week we challenged that. So what we did was we actually looked at Deuteronomy 28 line by line. We started from verse 1, went all the way to verse 68, one by one by one, each and every one of them. You don't need to be some super scholar to do this. You don't need to have like a bunch of letters behind your name and all of that. It's very simple. Are these things manifesting now? Or do these things exclusively scream out that this is only applicable to Black folks? Does it? That's either a yes or a no. So, when you get to certain passages that talk about how, the curses, one of the signs of the curses, you'll see, these individuals literally eating their children. You're talking cannibalism. That these people were going to be so cursed that they were going to be resorting to cannibalism. And that's in there. You can't get past that. So you have to ask yourself in 2024, are you seeing Hebrews or people who claim to be Hebrews or, Black people? And when I say Black people, again, let's be real here. The Hebrew identification is really centered on Black Americans. And anybody else like African people on the continent, in the Caribbean, you're secondary. I'm just saying, when you listen to the people, it's really centered on African Americans. And it makes sense because this current Hebrew movement that we're seeing right now, it actually goes all the way back to the late 1800s. We've done several videos on this where we looked at the history of this. What you see online, at least, this Black Hebrew movement started in the late 1800s, going from the Midwest, and then it found a base in Harlem, New York. We went through all of that. I'm not going to rehash that as, again, do you have people on the African continent who also claim through ancient lineage that they're the people? Yes, absolutely. But that is not what jump started what we see here today. That's a separate thing. And every now and then they will blend in every now and then, but we're not talking about that. Okay. But the fact of the matter is what we're talking about today started here. And this movement here is one that uses Deuteronomy 28 as a key indicator in order for people, Black people, to identify who they are. And what we brought out is the simple fact of how ridiculous this is, that in order for you to find a sense of purpose and a sense of direction, you have to go to a book that was given to you by your oppressors. And you have to go to the most cursed part of it in order to find who you really are. And, like I said, we are individuals on this side of your screen who have been through Christianity. We've also been through the whole Hebrew movement as well. So we're speaking from experience. We're speaking as individuals who used to repeat these things as well. So we're not speaking as outsiders in the sense that we've had no experience over this. No, we used to repeat these things until one day we realized wait a minute, let's take a closer look at it. In that video we did this week, we did just that. We took a closer look at this thing and at Deuteronomy 28, and we went through it, and it was like, no, there's nothing in here at all that one can honestly say that this is specifically and exclusively talking about black folks who came through the transatlantic slave trade. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you try to say. The only way it's possible is if you are looking for it. In other words, if you're looking at it with a filter. In other words, if you're looking at it and see, this is what the average person does, the people who believe this, they will skim through the chapter. And when they get to a certain part, they'll get to one verse. They'll say, see, this right here, this applies to us. And then they'll keep going. Okay, this one right here, see, that sounds like us as well. All right, let's go to this verse. Well, see, this kind of sounds like us as well. See, this is us. This is our history book. Now, what fool, and I hate to say that, but I'm going to say, you know how I am, I'm just going to call it for what it is. What fool is going to skim through a passage and going to only highlight the things that you think is talking about you, and then by skimming those things and putting a check mark by it, your conclusion is this whole book is my history book. Nobody in their right mind does that. I can pick up any book, literally any book. I can get the whole series of Harry Potter or whatever, and I can find things, I'm sure, in there, and I can say, you know what? I think they're actually talking about black people here. And then I can go a little bit further and say, you know what? It sounds like they're talking about black. And then after a couple of more confirmation biases, then I'm just concluding, you know what? The whole Harry Potter series is actually a tale talking about all of us as black people and how we came through the transatlantic slave trade and then how we were sold. And, you know, it's like, whoa. How did you jump to all of that? You're only finding a couple of things that are aligning with your own confirmation bias, and you're claiming the whole thing. But then your religion instructs you that if anybody was to take the time and go through the whole thing and ask those direct questions, you have to attack them, or you get angry because you don't want to put in the time or the work to do it yourself. So this is the reason why we do these live broadcasts too, because I want people to be able to hear what others are saying. You hear me all the time, but I want you to be able to hear, especially those that are in our comment section or in the chat, because typically, you know, a lot of times these people will sound very bold and, you know, be going for it in the comment section. But once you turn the mic around and say, okay, explain it to us plainly. Once you do that, they go away. In most cases, they go away. So what I'm telling you, a lot of times you're allowing other people in the comment section, whether to gas you up, but when they're given the opportunity to actually try to explain this as a sane person, they can't do it and they won't do it. So, but we give you fair opportunity to do so. But here is the other point that I want to bring up, because this is not a long video at all. This is something that I definitely want you to get. Our people who are in this thing, this Hebrew space, will fight like hell itself to claim curses. Man, I tell you, as I'm looking at some of these comments, people are trying to find any and every excuse and reason to claim curses. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? What people who are in their right mind would claim curses? Why would you do that? Why would you claim curses and try to make it seem as you? What that says is that you don't think a whole lot about yourself at all. It says you have very, very low self-esteem. It says a lot. That is not a blessing. That's a curse. That's like me going through my photo album, my family photo album. And, you know, when you go through your family photo album, it's a wonderful thing. It's your history book, right? It's your local history book. You go through you got the ups and downs and all that. And all in all, it's just a wonderful experience to go through it, right? It's telling your story because you know it's your story, right? But then let's say you sit down and you at grandma's house and she said, no, no, this page right here, it's like the bad section. It's all ripped up, got like coffee stains all on it. That's you right there. How would that make you feel as an individual? If grandma put you on a page that was like it was all ripped up, got cat pee on it and all this stuff, dog hair all on it, that's you. But this religion trains you and tells you that that's where you're to find your own identity. I want you to hear this. This is what you're saying. But here's where it even gets more interesting. That this same Bible, the one that some of y'all get very angry at if anybody there questions it, has a whole section of promises given by Jesus when you go to the New Testament, telling you that these are the signs that will follow those who believe. And the passage goes on to say that you will lay hands on the sick and they shall recover. Now you got a whole entire section that makes the declaration and the promise that if you believe that you will have this ability, this innate ability to lay hands on people and watch them recover. You will have this ability to be able to raise people from the dead. I am challenging you again, straight up. Is that happening? Are you walking in that? And if you're not walking in that, are your little Hebrew groups getting together and challenging the word, this scripture itself, these passages, these promises, and saying, why is it that this is not happening? But see, religion won't allow you to do it. What religion tells you is that, no, it's something wrong with you. The white man's word is always true. You are the one that's defective. You are the one that's not right. And religion will go even as far to say that the person that is sick, the one that you're praying for, it must be something wrong with them. So you will blame someone suffering from cancer and say that it's their fault they're not being healed. You'll go that far before you actually dare question and say, wait a minute. Now, this book says that we're promised this is what we're supposed to be walking in. But I don't see that happening at all. Why are you not questioning that? Why do you just let that slip and slide? But you will spend hours upon hours upon hours arguing about DNA, arguing about old maps, arguing about law, statutes, and commandments, arguing about scripture interpretations. But you won't even look at the basics of things that all you got to do is simply believe and you'll be walking in this. Why are you not looking at that? I'm going to tell you why. Because the religion that you're in tells you that you're not worth it. You're not worth being healed. You're not worth being set free. You're not worth that. Religion tells you that you are condemned to being bound by lies, bound by deception. That's what religion tells you to do. Religion doesn't allow you to question anything. So again, like I said, I did not want this to be a long video at all. But I want you to take note and go back through the videos that we did this week. And before you leave a comment based on your emotions, you need to, what I am asking, no, I'm demanding that you take a serious and hard look at the things that you have been standing on, the things that you've been claiming, without questioning. If it's true, the truth will stand. You don't ever have to give an excuse for the truth. In other words, truth is just going to stand. You don't have to say, well, truth didn't show up. I'll give you a reason. You just start blaming everything. You start blaming yourself because truth ain't standing. The truth I'm talking about is healing. That's just one example. Instead, you want to listen to a lot of these fools and idiots out here that want to get you focused on trying to somehow read into, look, did you see the skies the other night? Did you see how they look? See, that kind of sort of fits into the prophecy. And did you see those rivers there? They kind of turned red and all of that. And then they get you all focused on it so far until you start, now you're looking for your identification in paintings in Russia. In Russia. As black as you is, you looking to Russia to validate who you are. Do you not see the insanity in that? This is what religion does. They got you looking at Russia, making up videos, claiming that Putin somehow stopped the war that he's fighting right now on multiple fronts and said, you know what? I got to tell the black people who they are. And people unquestionably will just go with that. Anyway, like I said, this is not a long video. I'm stopping right now, but I want you to think about that. This is somewhat of a summary here, but any religion that has you claiming curses while at the same time not claiming blessing and health and wellness, you're in a cult. You're in something really demonic, and you got to wake up. So that's it. I'm just going to give it to you like that. And you can sound off in the comment section or whatever. But like I said, in our comment section, we're about, if you're going to state something, make sure it is factual and it's true, because we don't play in our comment section. OK, it's got to be factual and truth. If it's your emotions and you just going all over the place, hit the road, Jack.